Mother-in-law threw her cheap birthday gift in the trash, while guests laughed, unaware. It wrapped the deed to their mansion, and the police just arrived to evict them. The sound of expensive crystal clinking filled the air, but for Maya, the silence that followed was deafening. She stood in the center of the grand ballroom of the Kensington estate, a room so large it had its own echo, its own weather, its own rules. Chandeliers the size of small cars hung overhead, scattering light across marble floors that looked polished enough to reflect someone's soul back at them. A live string quartet played softly near the staircase, the notes delicate and expensive, like they were afraid to touch anything common. And then there was Maya. She didn't belong here, at least, not according to the people staring at her. She held a small box in both hands, simply wrapped in plain brown paper, with a modest ribbon. It wasn't glittering. It wasn't branded. It didn't scream money, which, to Beatrice Kensington, might as well have been an insult. Beatrice, her mother-in-law, stood near the head table, like a queen at a coronation, draped in pearls and entitlement. Her silver hair was styled into a perfect sculpted wave that didn't move when she turned. Her lipstick was the shade of cruelty disguised as elegance. Maya took a step forward. "Happy birthday," she said quietly, offering the gift. Beatrice accepted it, like she was being handed something suspicious. She didn't say thank you. She didn't smile. She tilted the box, weighing it in her palm, and her expression twisted. "Is this a joke?" Beatrice sneered, loud enough for the nearest guests to hear. "It's my 60th birthday. Everyone else brought diamonds, designer bags, trips to Paris, and you bring me this." A ripple of laughter moved through the room. People who didn't know Maya but knew exactly how to follow the richest person's lead. Maya's husband, James, stood at Beatrice's side in a tailored tux that looked like it cost more than Maya's first apartment. He was sipping champagne, relaxed, entertained, and completely useless. He didn't defend her. Instead, he chuckled, eyes bright with the satisfaction of joining in. "Mom, don't expect much," James said, tipping his glass slightly like he was giving a toast. "You know Maya is still finding herself, since her little bakery failed. She probably made you a coupon book for free hugs." That did it. The guests erupted. Real laughter now, louder, sharper, crueler. A woman in a red gown covered her mouth as she laughed, pretending it was polite. A man with a Rolex the size of a doorknob, snorted like Maya's humiliation, was the best entertainment all night. Maya didn't flinch. She didn't cry. She just watched Beatrice's manicured nails tap once against the plain paper wrapping, as if confirming it didn't feel like luxury. Beatrice's eyes narrowed. "I won't even open it," she said, voice dripping with disgust. "Whatever it is, it's not worth my time." Then she turned, slowly, dramatically, and walked across the ballroom to a large, ornate trash can placed near the wall. The trash can itself was decorative, gold-accented, probably imported from somewhere that charged extra for arrogance. Beatrice held the gift up for everyone to see, like a judge holding evidence. And she dropped it. The small box landed on top of napkins and discarded gift wrap like it belonged there. "Trash belongs with trash," Beatrice declared, wiping her hands as if she had touched something dirty. "Now get out of my sight, Maya. You're ruining the aesthetic of my party. Go help the caterers in the kitchen. At least there you'll be useful." More laughter, more eyes, more humiliation served like champagne. Maya didn't move. James's smile disappeared, replaced by irritation that she wasn't obeying fast enough. "Are you deaf?" James snapped, stepping toward her. "My mother said get out. Honestly, I don't know why I brought you. I'm filing for divorce on Monday anyway. I need a wife who fits this lifestyle, not a charity case. Beatrice laughed again, delighted. Finally, some good news. That's the real birthday gift, James. The room was buzzing now. Guests leaning toward each other, whispering, watching Maya like she was a reality show they didn't have to feel guilty about. And Maya stood there, perfectly still, like someone who wasn't surprised at all. Because deep down, she'd already known. She'd seen how Beatrice treated waitstaff. She'd heard the way James spoke about our level. She'd watched them spend money like oxygen, while bills arrived in quiet envelopes that James always snatched before she could see. She'd offered kindness anyway. She'd offered grace anyway. And tonight, she'd offered one final lifeline. A lifeline Beatrice had just thrown into the trash like it was nothing. They were so busy celebrating their cruelty that they didn't notice the blue and red lights flashing through the tall windows. They didn't notice the quartet stop mid-note. They didn't notice the silence spreading. Different this time. Not the silence of embarrassment, but the silence of something arriving. Then the heavy front doors swung open. 3 police officers walked in. Not security, not party staff. Real officers' uniforms crisp, faces serious, hands resting near their belts like men who didn't care about money or status. A 4th figure followed behind them. A sharply dressed woman carrying a folder, her expression calm and clinical. A representative, paperwork, procedure. The room froze. Beatrice gasped, clutching her pearls like someone might try to steal them with the same ease she stole dignity from others. "Officers," Beatrice said, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Oh, thank goodness. Did you come to escort this intruder out?" She jabbed a finger toward Maya, like she was pointing at trash again. The lead officer didn't look at Maya. He looked at Beatrice. "We're not here for her, ma'am," he said evenly. "We're here to assist with the eviction." For a second, no one understood the words. Like the sentence didn't fit in a room like this. Then James laughed short, arrogant. "Eviction?" he scoffed. "Do you know who we are? We've owned the Kensington estate for generations." The woman with the folder stepped forward, flipping it open. "Kensington estate is currently under new ownership," she said. "This property was foreclosed on 6 months ago due to defaulted mortgage payments. The previous owners were notified repeatedly." Beatrice blinked, lips parting. "Lies," she whispered, then louder, panicked. "James handles the finances." James's face went pale, just for a moment, before he tried to recover. His jaw clenched. His eyes darted toward the guests like he wanted to keep the illusion alive. Maya's voice cut through the room, calm and steady. "Actually," she said, "you haven't owned it for 6 months." Every head turned toward her. Maya stepped forward slowly, not rushing, not trembling. She walked like someone who finally didn't need permission to stand in her own space. "The bank foreclosed," she continued. "James has been hiding the notices. The final warning came, the auction happened, and the property sold." James swallowed hard. Beatrice's mouth opened and closed like she couldn't breathe in a world where she wasn't in control. "The bank put it up for auction last week," Maya said, stopping beside the trash can. "And a private buyer purchased it immediately, cash." Beatrice's laugh tried to return, shaky and desperate. You don't know what you're talking about. James, tell them we." James didn't speak, because he couldn't, because Maya wasn't guessing. She reached into the trash can. The room collectively flinched, like watching a wealthy woman touch garbage was obscene, until they realized Maya was the one doing it. And Maya wasn't playing by their rules anymore. She pulled out the cheap gift Beatrice had thrown away. Still intact, still wrapped, still plain. And she unwrapped it slowly. The paper fell away. Inside wasn't jewelry. It wasn't perfume. It wasn't a sentimental photo album. It was a legal document, thick, official, stamped. Maya lifted it high enough for the front row of guests to see. The deed to the mansion. A sound moved through the room, half gasp, half disbelief. A few phones came up, recording now not laughter anymore, but hunger. People loved cruelty until it backfired. Then they loved consequences. "The buyer was me," Maya said, her voice quiet but sharp enough to cut glass. James stared like he was looking at a stranger. "You," he stammered. "But your bakery. You're broke." Maya's lips curved, not into a smile, but into something colder than one. "My bakery didn't fail, James," she said. "It franchised." The word landed like a slap. "I didn't lose everything," she continued. "I scaled, quietly, while you mocked me, while your mother called me cheap, while you both spent money you didn't even have." Beatrice's knees wobbled. "I sold the brand 3 months ago," Maya said, "for $50 million. The room went dead silent. Even the air felt embarrassed. James shook his head, like denial could change paperwork. "No, you're lying. You would have told me." "I wanted to," Maya said simply, "but I waited, because I needed to know something." She took a step closer to him. "I needed to know if you loved me, or if you loved having someone to look down on." James's face cracked. He opened his mouth to speak, but nothing came out. Beatrice's voice broke through, frantic. "Maya, sweetheart, listen, this is all a misunderstanding. James didn't mean—" "Oh, he meant it," Maya said, not looking at Beatrice. "He just didn't think anyone would ever make him pay for it." Maya turned toward the officers and the woman with the folder. "Officer," Maya said, "these people are trespassing on my property." Beatrice made a strangled sound. "Trespassing? We live here." "You lived here," Maya corrected, "when it was yours." "It isn't anymore." Then Maya tapped the remaining papers in the box papers Beatrice had never bothered to open. "I tried to give them a lease agreement," Maya said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "It was in the box, a gift. I was going to let them stay here rent-free for a year, while they figured things out." The guests stirred. Even they, snobs and parasites, recognized what that meant. Mercy. A second chance. And Beatrice had thrown it away. "But Beatrice," Maya continued, her eyes finally meeting her mother-in-law's, "called it trash." Beatrice's face contorted in panic. "No!" she screamed, lunging forward. "Maya, wait. It was a joke. We were teasing. You know how we are." The officers stepped in immediately, blocking her path. Maya didn't step back out of fear. She stepped back out of control. "I do know how you are," Maya said. "You're the kind of person who humiliates others for sport. And now—" She paused, letting the silence sharpen. "Now, you're homeless." James dropped to his knees, like his body finally accepted what his brain couldn't. He grabbed the hem of Maya's dress, voice breaking. "Baby, please. I didn't mean the divorce thing. I love you. We can fix this." Maya pulled her dress away, clean and final. "You're right, James," she said softly. "You do need a wife who fits your lifestyle." James's eyes brightened. Hope, pathetic and desperate. Maya's next words killed it. "But right now," she said, "your lifestyle is sleeping on the street." Beatrice let out a sob that sounded more like anger than sadness. Maya looked at the officers. "Get them out," she said. The eviction didn't happen gently. It happened the way consequences always happen, fast, humiliating, and impossible to negotiate with. Beatrice screamed as the officers guided her forward, still clutching her designer bag like it could protect her from reality. James stumbled after her, pleading, bargaining, promising anything. The guests didn't laugh now. They watched in silence. Some looked uncomfortable. Others looked thrilled. A few slipped out early, as if leaving could erase the fact that they had laughed when cruelty was convenient. As Beatrice and James were escorted through the front doors and down the steps of the estate they no longer owned, the night air hit them like punishment. And then the rain started light at first, then heavier, like the sky had waited for the right moment. Maya stood in the doorway of the ballroom, the deed in her hand. She didn't chase them. She didn't yell. She just watched. Beatrice's perfect hair began to fall apart. James's expensive shoes splashed in puddles like he'd never walked in weather before. And on the curb, under flashing police lights, they looked exactly like what they had always been on the inside. Small. The guests trickled out soon after, awkward and quiet, stepping carefully as if the marble could judge them too. The string quartet never started again. When the house finally emptied, Maya stood alone in the ballroom, where she'd been humiliated minutes earlier. Now, the silence felt different. Now, it felt like peace. They had thrown away her gift, unaware they were throwing away their only lifeline. This story teaches us something people like Beatrice never learn, until it's too late. Arrogance is a blindfold. It makes you mistake kindness for weakness. It makes you laugh at the person who could save you. It makes you throw away mercy because you're too busy worshipping pride. Beatrice and James judged a book by its cover and a gift by its wrapping, never realizing that the person they humiliated held the keys to their entire existence. Never look down on anyone unless you're helping them up. Because the hand you bite today might be the only one that can feed you tomorrow. Viewers, do you think Maya should have given them a second chance? Or did they get exactly what they deserved? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about justice, karma, and the truth revealed.